All right, number 10. ABCD is a rhombus, and we want to find AB. So the side we want to find is this one right here. Okay, well, what do you know about a rhombus? According to the rhombus properties, all the sides are the same. Well, this 12y and this 4y minus 1, you see they have those little degree symbols right there? Yeah, that's not going to help us. So that's extra information that we don't need. What I do know is that 4x plus 15 and 7x plus 2, those are two sides. And that means they're congruent because all four sides of a rhombus are congruent. So that's what's going to help us find AB. So we're going to have 4x plus 15, and I know that should be equal to 7x plus 2 because the sides of a rhombus are congruent. So now I'm going to solve for x, and I like to take my smaller x over to my larger x, so I'm going to subtract 4x, and I get 15 is equal to 3x plus 2, and then I'm going to have to subtract 2, and I get 13 is equal to 3x, divide by 3, and x is equal to 13 thirds, which is 4.33 repeating if you use a decimal. Okay, some of you stopped here, but you were wrong because you didn't answer the question. I have to find AB. That means I need to come back. That side is 7x plus 2, or you could use the other one, 4x plus 15. But I'm going to have 7 times 13 over 3 plus 2. Y'all will have a calculator. I don't have one available at the moment. So that's 91 thirds plus 2. Let's see, 91 divided by 3. I know that goes in there 3 times. For 9, 1 left over. That's going to be 30. And then I'm going to have 1 come down, and that's going to be a 3, 3 repeating. Then I got to add 2 to that, so it's going to be 32.33 repeating in actuality. I know some of you truncated your fraction and decimal. So number 10, AB is really going to equal 32.33 repeating. Okay, so I had to go find x first because I know the sides are congruent, and then I had to come over here and substitute it in. Okay. Blast from the past, SOHCAHTOA. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine of theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent of theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. We were really rusty on these today. Okay, number 1, they told me that GD is 10, so I'm going to mark my diagram, and the measure of angle D is 2. Okay, well, based on that, that means angle D is my theta. That makes 10 my hypotenuse, and they want me to find GF. So this is my X, and that's opposite of D, opposite of the 2 degree. So when I'm looking at SOHCAHTOA, I have my opposite side and I have my hypotenuse side. So I am looking for opposite and hypotenuse, which is going to be my sine. So I'm setting up a sine. My degree measure is 2 degrees. That equals my opposite side over my hypotenuse side, which is 10. Okay? So we're going to cross multiply. And I'm going to have to pause to go get my calculator. Okay, so I'm back with my calculator. First thing I want to do, first thing you need to check is it in degree mode? This calculator is not. It resets every time, so I need to make sure it's in degree mode. If I cross multiply, I'm going to have the 10 sine of 2 degrees is equal to x. Okay, so now that means I'm going to have to type in 10 sine. Woo, I lost my calculator. I think I hit the wrong button. There we go. 2 degrees. I'm going to end the parenthesis and I'm going to hit enter. I get 0.358. So if I look at my answer choices, I think my screen shifted too. There we go. I think we're back on track. Okay, so if I look at my answer choices, I see 0.35. That's going to be the answer. That matches. So 0.34899 rounds up to 0.35. Okay, number 2 tells me this is my right angle. It tells me ST is 10 and angle T is 27. And I got to move my calculator. And they want me to find TR. Okay, here's TR. I'm going to put an X there. 27 is my theta. That means opposite is this side, which I'm not really going to use because I don't have any measurements there. 10 would be the adjacent side, and X would be the hypotenuse side. So now I'm looking for the trig function that uses adjacent and hypotenuse. That's going to be cosine. So I'm going to set up a cosine of 27 degrees equals adjacent 10 over the hypotenuse X. And a lot of people mixed these two up, 10 over X. It's adjacent over hypotenuse. Now, when we did these originally, when the X is in the bottom, I told you to go ahead and switch places with the trig function. So X is really equal to the 10 over the cosine of 27. Okay, so what I can do now is go back to my calculator and I can type in 10 divided by cosine of 27. And when I hit enter, I get 11.22. And I see that's choice A. Okay, give me just a moment to pause, clean up the screen, and move on to number 3. Okay, last one. We have angle S is a right angle. So again, this is my right angle. TR is 25. And SR is 8. And they want me to find the measure of angle R. That means angle R is going to be my theta. So when I label my sides, ST is opposite, but I don't need that side. SR is adjacent, and 25 is the hypotenuse side. So again, on SOHCAHTOA, I'm looking for adjacent and hypotenuse. That's going to be the cosine function. So cosine of theta, as I don't know what my angle is, equals adjacent 8 over the hypotenuse 25. Now these are attached. This is now one function. I cannot separate them. So in order to reverse the cosine, we have to take the inverse cosine, cosine to the -1. What that does is that eliminates the cosine function and leaves me with theta. But whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other. So I also have to take the inverse cosine of 8 over 25. That's what's going to give me my angle. So in my calculator, I have the inverse cosine. It's above cosine in blue, so I have to hit my blue button first. Blue button, cosine, and see now I have that cosine of -1. And then I type in my fraction, 8 divided by 25, and I hit enter. So that gives me an angle measure of 71.34, which is answer choice B. Okay, 71.34. So whenever you're finding the angle measure, you have to do the inverse trig function. Okay, that concludes the preview. Your test is coming up very shortly.